So with next-gen hardware being nearly impossible to find, whether it's the Xbox Series S, X, PS5, anything from Nvidia or AMD, and current-gen stuff is starting to have the same issues, I thought I'd revisit the best, well, technically the second best gaming device in my house, the Xbox One S. Now, I've had this console for a little over 2 years, and I've actually had no issues with it outside of it being an always-on console, and Microsoft not implementing a bandwidth limiter. Again, I have horrible internet where I live, so keeping something like this up to date all the time with the massive amount of game updates and stuff is incredibly hard for me to do. But since you can't find next-gen hardware, is current-gen hardware still any good? And my response is yes. A lot of games they're not really having issues on One X's or One S's. Now, again, that will depend on the title. And I was talking to a friend of mine about it yesterday afternoon, and we were playing Ghost Runner on his Xbox One S, and he was having frame rate issues all over the place. It would stutter and everything. And so it got me, and he was talking about how the same thing happened with the 7th and 8th gen consoles around the same time, where the 360 would have a game come out for it as well as on the One, and it would run like absolute garbage on the 360, and the One, it would be a little better than on garbage. Like I said, this is the second best gaming console in the house, or gaming device, I should say. The best being my computer, my desktop, which again has Ryzen 5 3600X and an RTX 2060 inside of it. Now, again, these consoles, they came with a horrible amount of storage. Mine did. This is a 500 gigabyte model. I have a 2 terabyte expansion drive on there, and the internal hard drive seems to be running a little slow. I would have liked to have seen the One S or the One X have an SSD instead of a hard drive, but you can't win them all. Especially when hard drive is still incredibly cheap, and SSDs are, well, since they're becoming a little more mainstream, they are becoming a little better. Now, I haven't cracked this thing open or anything. I'm just blowing some air through it to try to clean it. I do need to crack it open to clean it. But the I/O on this thing is actually not that bad. You've got HDMI out, HDMI in, 2 USBs, and IR out for, I believe, for the Kinect. I don't know. I've never used it. Digital audio, which I don't ever use. You have your power cable and gigabit Ethernet. Now, as I said before, this is the 500 gig model. I believe my Minecraft disc is still in here, so I might want to be careful. Now, one thing I really like about this console is it can go on you can set it on the bottom, you can set it on the side, either of the sides. I would not suggest setting it on the front side here, or especially this back side here, or this top piece right here. I wouldn't set it here because this is your exhaust. You do not want to block this at all. I've had issues where just blocking this would cause frame rate issues because the components were getting hot and they were lowering clock speeds and stuff to keep the thermals, or to keep the system from overheating and crashing. Now, there's only so much that can do, so yeah. Oh yeah, you do have a Kensington lock on the back here, which, I mean, unless you're a college or a place of business that has these, that's not really going to be used. I do like on the bottom here, it gives you Xbox One, the model number, right here, and a hello from Seattle. Now the bottom of mine does look incredibly scratched up. But that's only because I set it on wood, because that's what I have to set it on. I do have stuff where I can raise it up, but again, it sits on its side most of the time. So I don't really mess with it at all. With that at all. So yeah. But again, this is the middle child, I guess you could say, of the Xbox One family. Personally, I got this incredibly cheap, almost used price. So there's that. I even got a free game with mine. But again, that was like 3 years ago, so take that with a grain of salt. Again, since you can't find next-gen hardware, you start looking for the older stuff. Again, the One X has been discontinued, so those are starting to be scalped for incredibly good prices. As well as any next-gen hardware. The One S, as far as I know, is still in production, and I haven't had any issues with frame rate on mine, except for a couple times, and I don't remember what I did to do it because it's been a long time since I've done it. I do remember that one of the first frame rate issues I had was due to putting a game on my external hard drive and running it off of that, and the system hadn't allocated the proper amount of bandwidth to the or the game hadn't properly allocated itself to the drive, and at that point, and it was still running the allocation algorithm or something to put the game on, and it did stutter a couple of times, and I'm like, this isn't going to work, I might have to put it back on the main drive. It's 500 gigs, that's why I bought the 2 terabyte external. But ever since then, and ever since I just let it run the full right to the drive, I guess you could say, I just install all my games onto the drive, onto the external drive. I haven't had any issues with that. Again, I haven't noticed it at all. I've actually noticed a little bit faster load times off of the external drive as well. Again, these are USB 3.0 drives on the back. I will say that on the PS4, I haven't had any issues with cockroaches loving this thing, so yeah. Also on mine, and I don't know if this is simply because I live in a very hot part of the world, but the rubber feet that go on the bottom of my console have lots of stickiness and fallen off. So there's that. Again, that could be just because of the part of the world I live in. So, is the One S still a good console? For 2020, and with at least with the way Xbox is running their game of next-gen hardware, I would say yes. Just don't try to run too many next-gen games because you will incur a lot, and I mean a lot, of frame rate issues. I've heard of Cyberpunk 2077 on all consoles having frame rate issues all over the place. The PC's had its fair share of issues, I believe frame rate and crashes with other things in the game. So, there's that, and yeah, as far as I know, that's it. But this is still a good console. If you're looking for something for your kids or your grandkids or something like that for Christmas, I would highly recommend this. I haven't had any issues with mine, but again, mine's in a well-ventilated area, and I try to keep it as clean as possible. So, there's that. And, again, I believe these come in the sizes of up to 2 terabytes. I do not know how much those are costing. They're probably in the $500 range. So there's that. But again, compared to what you can get for a scalped next-gen piece of hardware, because of COVID and supply being very low and scalpers taking advantage of that, I would honestly say go to your Best Buy or your local computer store, Best Buy or GameStop, and grab one of these if they still have them, simply because these are still being, as far as I know, they're still in production. The One X is not, I believe, or the excuse that Microsoft has given, that they didn't want to cause confusion with the Series X, and it has already. People have bought plenty of One X's thinking they were Series X's and they were One X's. So there's that. And, yeah, that's about all I got for now. So if you like this video, please like button down below. If you're new, subscribe, hit the great notification bell so you can see my new videos. So you see what I record a lot of videos today. So you can see when I post, because I've got a lot of new videos coming out almost daily for the month of December, except for the previous week and few days. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.